Hey guys, and welcome to another season of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we uncover the remarkable power of genuine compassion and insightful vision. This season, we're here to show the world that we, as individuals, are the brand, regardless of misconceptions. Join us as we go deep into the inspiring journeys of our guests, each one a testament to the impact and influence of kindness and creativity. Don't just take my word for it. Hear their stories, feel their passion, and discover the transformative potential within us all. So stay tuned as we shine a light on the truths that connects us and inspires change.
Hi, I'm Remi, the social media lead at My Life My Say, and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am abundantly humbled to have Remi here with me. Remi is a social media lead at My Life My Say, having joined in January 2024 after various roles in the social media world. I know this is going to be a really good conversation because I have so many questions to ask when it comes to social media and just having a presence, and I'm sure all of us out there listening to the podcast at the moment have so many questions about social media, even just understanding it. So Remi, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. I've been super excited to get this underway. We've been talking about it for quite a while now, and various things have happened. So I think, I'm just super excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. So I'm going to jump into my first question for you, Remi, which is...
Let's go straight into it.
Could you tell me a bit about your background, where you grew up, but more importantly, how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
That is a great question. And I think, as you'll soon find out, my story is quite unique. And that has led me to the place I am today, which I think is quite a unique place. I'm sure this conversation will kind of encapsulate all of that. But so I kind of grew up living with my mom. I'm very close to my dad. My dad's in my life, but I lived with my mom, and then on the weekends I would go with my dad. The usual story, two-parent, co-parent situation. Yep. It'll be like my mom would pick me up from school on Friday or after school club, whatever, and then take me to my dad's shop. My dad used to have a shop in Garrett Lane in South London. And just drop me off at the shop, and I wouldn't see her till Sunday night. My dad would drop me off home. You know, that would be my normal weekend routine. But so kind of living with my mum, we kind of started off living in King's Cross. But that was like the first time I was in like primary school. Like I remember being in primary school in King's Cross. Lived there for a bit. Then we moved to East London. My mum's originally from East, so we kind of moved around in East London. So like Poplar, Isle of Dogs, East Ham. And then we lived in East Ham for quite a bit, and then we moved to Woolwich eventually. And my mum still lives in Woolwich now. But between the ages of 11 and 18, I actually went to boarding school.
Okay.
So I was fortunate enough to like kind of get a scholarship or academic bursary to a really interesting school. I don't know if you've heard of it, called Christ Hospital. Yes. They wear like really old Jewish uniforms. Yeah. I feel like the uniform is the thing that most people know it for. One day I was in year 5. I think so. A girl in my primary school 2 years above me went to Christ Hospital, and I think that's how my primary school knew about the school. And then like one day I was playing football after school, and someone told me like, "Oh, Remi, you got to go to the head teacher's office. And I was like, oh, why have I got to go to the head teacher's office? Like, am I in trouble? Because normally, you can't lie, yeah, if I was getting called to the teacher's office, I was probably getting in trouble. So like, I was like, oh man, what have I done? And I get there, my mom's there, and I'm like, oh, this is big trouble. My mom's already here. But no, it was a great conversation, and they were like, because my mom always pushed me like to do more advanced stuff academically, and I even moved school in year 3. I moved primary school because my mom didn't feel like my first primary school were like pushing me academically. Because I was already like quite switched on in terms of like what they were giving me in class, and I feel like my mom wanted me to kind of have more room to develop like any academic interest I had. Yes. And I guess which my second primary school kind of in some way did that by encouraging me to kind of apply to the school that I applied to. And then after like 2 sets of tests and various like meetings and stuff, got a bursary to go to school. So I went to boarding school for 7 years, and that has shaped my life in ways that I still that still impact me today. Or like a lot of my friends, in fact, the large majority of my friends are from my school. I was with some of them yesterday, and I feel like we all come from the same place, even though we aren't necessarily from the same area. Yes. A lot of my friends are from London, though, like South and North and East, but we all went to the same boarding school, and especially as Black people, had the same experience in this boarding school. That's kind of like bonded us in a ways that we can't even imagine. And I think the school that I went to kind of shaped my view. I think there's a lot of debates that people have around private schools and, you know, whether they're good and whether they should even exist. And people always think about like what the difference between a private school and a state school is, and you know, whether it's fair. And in my experience, I think the biggest thing, I mean, it's probably not the quality of education, because I don't think that can really change much. You can obviously get better teachers, but I don't think the education is the part that it's really different. It's more about the environment and the people that you're around. And like, you know, because I went to the school that I went to, I was fortunate enough not to kind of grow up in London where there will be certain other like external influences outside of school, you know, after school and all of that. And because I didn't have that, I was obviously given more time and space to pursue other things. And then also the people I'm around, and the kind of life you're exposed to, has given us like the platform and the belief to kind of believe that we can do whatever we want. And so like the large majority, I think like 85-90% of people in my school went to university following that. It was kind of like the norm. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I have one friend who didn't go to university. He did an apprenticeship, and he was like the black sheep. Like it was kind of a thing like, oh, he didn't go to uni sort of thing. That's the kind of thing that I think kind of shaped me in a way, because I'd never really considered whether university was for me. It was kind of just a thing of just like, oh yeah, like everyone's applying for university, so this is what I've got to do. So I applied to university. I went to University of Birmingham. And I studied politics and economics and social policy. It's like PPE, but they didn't do philosophy. They did social policy instead. Yeah. But I think my 3 years that I spent in Birmingham also shaped me very much as well. Because I think having that quote unquote independence and boarding school was one thing, but then going to another environment and having even more freedom. Yes. And that shaped me a lot as well. And like becoming an adult and discovering more about myself, I think in terms of my like creativity and the creative side that I have, I do feel like that kind of flourished the most at university, given that extra bit of freedom. Because I feel like as much as the school that I went to was great in terms of like giving me a great education and like great friends and stuff like that, I do feel like the very much academic, regimented, traditional view of the school that I went to, and a lot of schools that are doing well now, kind of pushes kids into certain paths that might not be for them. Like we didn't get like a idea of what it was to be like a creative person or creativity. Yeah, we had art in school, but like I never felt like the art department in my school was for me. I never felt like I didn't like any of the art teachers. If they're watching, I didn't like you. I still don't like you. They were very
I
pretentious.
I love the honesty.
They were very pretentious, and like it never seemed like it was something that for me as a person that I could feel comfortable in. As much as yeah, I love art and I love music. I did music at school for 1 year,
Yeah.
and it wasn't really for me because it was very like traditional and classic. But now I'm a DJ, so like that there was something clearly missing in that curriculum or in that
Yes.
school, in that environment. If and there's I'm not the only one, by the way. There's a lot of people that I know from my school, and I'm sure many other schools out there that like I know so many people from my school that are DJs and artists now, and that they sing and rap and make music, but they didn't do any music at school because they weren't in the band, or they didn't do music theory or all of that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Can I
And
jump in for a second? It's just because of what you just said. I've heard this so many times, Remi, and I don't mean to jump in but like that, but for me, I just want to ask you, what do you feel is missing in the curriculum of education? Because I don't feel culturally they share with every culture, because every culture has such a beautiful, magnificent way of expressing music. But I feel the curriculums that they do teach us and show us are very traditional to them and not to us, which doesn't necessarily help us to use our creative side of our brain to become fundamentally more talented in what we want to do. But from your point, because you might have a whole different perspective from me, I just think that a lot more schools, because I learned classical music and obviously I didn't grow up in classical music, but from your perspective of things, Remi, what do you feel is missing in the whole curriculum that you feel can bring kids or children or even adults together to understand music a lot more better from a traditional point of view, but also an educational point of view?
I think from memory, going back to when I was in school, I think what's missing is the link to the like current day. Because if kids are listening to the radio or they're watching music videos on YouTube, or they like music, they like the songs that they like on TikTok.
Yep.
But then when they go to the music class and they go to the classroom, there's a disconnect there, because the music that they're being taught is classical, it's very basic, and the person can't, well, as a child, you can't really see sometimes the link between what you're learning in a textbook to what you actually enjoy. And I think that that's the spark that inspires a young person to be like, you know what, I want to actually pursue music. I can do it too. I think for me, when I learned how to produce music and DJ, it was on YouTube, because I just go on YouTube and type in what I want to know, and then someone's made a video. Well, many people have made videos about it, and I can choose which one I want to choose and slow it down, pause it, rewind it. And I think that's the part that makes you feel good about learning, because you want to actually like learn something that you're actually interested in.
Yeah.
But I think you just lose children when you kind of don't make it fun or relatable. Because like I just think as like classic as these people are, it's Bach or Handel or Mozart, like these people are great, and I'm sure like it's very beneficial for people to learn about this, especially if they're learning about music theory and stuff like that. But it's so far removed from the life of a young person today that I think that it's hard for them to kind of see themselves in it.
I completely agree with what you're saying there. And this is why so many people have this controversial theory when it comes to education. And a lot of people, well, I was brought up in a public school, and my dad wanted to make me go to a private school, but for some reason I rebelled and I went to the public school. But I found that you are correct. It doesn't matter which school you necessarily go to. What it comes down to is your fundamental choices that you make in your life. Those are the key. Yes, I understand your parents want the best for you. and I understand that there are things that happen in families, that also steer us away from things. And I know you know this just by
Mm-hmm.
you even nodding your head. But I think in life, if we continue to try and make good choices for ourselves, and especially in what we love and we have a passion for it, I always say it doesn't matter where you come from. If you have a passion for what you love and you strive to keep on doing it, you will make it, because the universe will allow you to some way. It's just that sometimes in life I find that we look at what other people have and we may see them get to their destination of what they call success quicker to us, but our journey is different, fundamentally different, and we just have to go with it.
Absolutely. I always feel like everyone's runs their race at their own pace,
Exactly that.
And I feel like where a lot of people go wrong is that they look at other people and they compare themselves. And it's hard because, like, I feel like when you always compare yourself to other people, especially when they are unaware that you're comparing yourself to them, you're always going to see, because people only see the good side of people.
Exactly.
People only post their wins. They don't really post their losses, or when they're feeling sad, or just like when they have a rough day, or a tough decision to make. But they post when they get the job, or when it's their birthday, or So it's easy to then compare to that and be like, oh, but yeah, I'm not always happy. I'm not always like this. I'm not always winning. But I feel like it's impossible. You're never going to be happy if you're comparing yourself to other people.
That's true.
But yeah, I get it with social media now, and the way that everything in the world is engineered. It's kind of like these people are shown to you on purpose to try and make you feel that way. And then, companies are trying to sell you something to try and make you feel better.
Usually, sometimes it works, and sometimes it's just, I think, you getting to understand what makes you happy. Because happiness, I think, is a key to a lot of things. Some people, I'm sure we'll talk about this also, but some people, when they talk about success, they talk about many different things, but success is defined in such a unique way to each and every one of us. Whereas some people might find success in money, some people might find success in health, some people might find success as simple as passing your driving test. Well, that's not always simple, but there are so many different ways to define it. But moving on to one of the questions that I do love to ask every guest that comes on the show, Remi, is, can you define yourself as a person, but also who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you may not have liked the reflection of to becoming the person that you like to be?
That is a very, very interesting question. I feel like defining myself or describing myself has always been difficult for me, because I feel like there are so many sides of me, and I feel like sometimes the description won't encapsulate all the parts of me.
I agree.
But I feel like maybe part of that description would be I am someone who is multifaceted, very creative person. And I always like to believe that I'm doing the right thing. And I think linked to that, maybe a negative thing is that maybe I am quite stubborn in that, and I am quite, forthright in my convictions. When I've made my mind on something, I'm kind of stuck on that. But I do like to think that I am very like easygoing, and I can listen to people. And yeah, I think it's hard to kind of describe yourself, because you need someone to get back up what I'm saying. But no, I think, yeah, I'm someone who likes to see the fun in things, and recently I've been kind of embracing that a lot more. Just trying to be silly and fun, and trying to just like not take life too seriously, because I feel like life is already as serious as it is. So
Yeah, that's true.
why should I add to it? And to the second part of your question, a time when I didn't recognize the person who I was looking at in the mirror, I think there is a time that comes to mind, but I also want to just like interrogate that question a little bit further, because I feel like even when I didn't necessarily like the situation I was in, I still recognize myself.
I like that.
And I still recognize that I was just the same person I am, just trying to do the best I can in a situation. The situation might not have been as favorable as I would have liked, but I don't know whether it's how I was brought up or school or whatever, but I always been very like I always had strong belief in myself, even when times have been difficult. And even as little as like 2 years ago, like 2023, I was kind of like, I didn't really have like a full-time job. I was kind of like freelancing, kind of like money was tight, invoices weren't being paid on time. You know how it goes. Like it's a lot going on. And it didn't feel like I would ever get back to this point that I'm at now, which is like in a great job that I love and everything's stable and happy. And I think at that time, maybe my belief in myself wasn't as strong as it should always be. But I think naturally, after taking so many punches in life, it's a given to kind of, maybe expect a few more punches than might come. But I think I think just still persevering through it and kind of making sure that you're always kind of just like open to new opportunities, which is kind of like how I got the job that I have now. I think that's how I kind of got out of that situation.
You know what? I love when I hear people, people find it really hard to talk about themselves sometimes, especially like you said. And it's hard to have a bird's eye view of yourself because you're living that moment. So it's hard to be able to say to yourself, okay, this is what's happening to me. This is how I feel, which is an emotion. But to be able to live your story and tell it can be fundamentally hard as well. So I commend you for even just saying what you're saying and being able to educate people in a way that things happen to all of us. It's just how we interpret it and also how we embrace what happens to us to help us move forward. I think that's really key. So let's talk about what you do now. And this is going to be really interesting because so many people have so many controversial thoughts about social media. Some people love it, some people completely hate it. But I focus on the positive. So let's open up people's minds to social media. But through everything that you can do, because I know you're multi-talented, you're not just in one creative field, you're in multiple fields. What made you decide, Remi, to say, I'm going to do social media, as a field of work that I do?
I think I decided to do it because I think it kind of gives me a balance of the creative side, but also the interpersonal side as well. So like working with people and kind of using my personality in a job, which I think for me is also very, very key. How I got into social media in the first place is kind of by accident and a tale that I'm sure a lot of young people my age, I'm 27, but when I first graduated uni in 2019, I finished uni and I was looking for jobs, and what jobs could I find? Social media jobs. And because I was 21, of course a 21-year-old can do social media. So I got an interview and an interview, did well because of course I'm 21, I have ideas. I'm, you know what I mean? Could come up with ideas in a brainstorm. That's what they wanted, really. Do you know what I mean? And then kind of did social media kind of straight after uni without really thinking about it. And then it wasn't until I wasn't doing social media for a bit in 2021 and 2022 that I then actually had to decide to do it again.
Yeah.
And I think in that decision, part of it was the idea of it's like something creative and I can use that side of my skill set, but also I think like it was something that I kind of knew and something that kind of like I understood as someone who's like I said 27. I kind of always grew up with some sort of social media, whether it was MSN, BBM, Facebook. I've kind of seen it evolve. So I feel like people of my generation are social media experts kind of by default anyway. And I think that also leads to a lot of problems now, which I'm sure we'll come to. But yeah, I did kind of feel very confident in my ability to understand trends and understand what people was talking about online, both in like the more commercial, popular spaces, but also in Black spaces as well, which I think also gives a lot of Black creatives a lot of advantage as well. That's what something I always want to tell like Black creatives or Black social media people, is that like the fact that you are aware and tapped into like pockets of social media that other people can't really get access to,
Yes.
like Black Twitter or TikTok, certain TikTok spaces. We can see the jokes and the funny stuff like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before everyone else, because as you know, we're often ahead of the conversation. So it kind of did give me an advantage in that way. But yeah, so I think that's why I'm in social media, because I think social media is kind of where everything is right now. So yeah.
Talk to me about what a social media lead actually does, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, okay, there's someone who does social media, but then there's a social media lead. So if you can go into more depth for us about what does a social media lead actually do?
So I think the roles will obviously vary depending on your company or your organization. So I work for a charity called My Life, My Say. We get young people engaged in politics, young people that aren't already engaged in politics. So the underrepresented groups, the ethnic minority groups, like we try and engage young people that, kind of haven't voted before and that sort of stuff. And we're a small team, currently a team of 8. And so I sit on the team as social media lead because I lead on all social media activities. But that role really does not stop at social media, kind of all kind of things, comms and creative, and just even leading workshops and doing so many things. My role at My Life, My Say is a wonderful and ever evolving role. But I think social media lead is just that I lead on all social media things. So when people reach out to us about collabing on socials or needing anything from logos to pictures, like it'll come to me. If you DM the social media account, it'll come to me. It's a kind of like I'm the go-to person. I'm leading on it. I think it could be social media manager or social media executive or social media whatever, insert coordinator, any sort of title. But I think in this case, I think I just do the socials basically.
It sounds really cool to me. So for me, I've always found it really hard to be able to do social media and yet still be a creative person, because there's so many things that you have to do. So for example, you create the content. For example, yes, that's the part you love, putting the ideas together, but creating the content. But then also you have to be able to chop up that content to be able to pull it out into the social media world. And that is hard to be able to find a good team to be able to do that with or for you. So how do you work together as a team to be able to get these things done? And also I'm going to add another question to that one for you, Remi. So a lot of the time people, like we say, have this controversial understanding when it comes to social media. And I was on the bus the other day and a lady said, oh, nobody ever talks to anybody anymore because everyone's always on their phones looking at, like you say, TikTok. How do you feel about that? Because you are the next generation, coming up and doing all these technical, really smart, creative things in the world. How do you feel about the comment, and what is your interpretation of it?
So going back to your first question, first answer that, I'll come to that second question.
Of course.
But working with a team, I think is key in any job, in any role. But what I love about the team I currently have is that they kind of like, it's trust. And so I'm the only person I'm the social media lead. So I'm the only person that like does socials. But people often need things from me, or I need things from them. But like we all kind of just trust that we're gonna be there for each other and get the job done. Like if people need something from me, don't worry, I'll sort it, I'll handle it, and vice versa. And yeah, I think just being able to delegate tasks to people, and knowing that the tasks are going to get done I think is such a key thing. So I think, that's how I think working as a team works. But also, I do a lot of things by myself as well. So I think also having the ability to just get on with it and do it by myself. It's often harder to do everything, like you said, like to film the content, edit the content, post the content, and then record how well it did, and then learn from it and build more content. It's difficult to do, especially on your own. But I think having a team that kind of gives you the time and space to do that as well. I feel like my team now are great because like I never feel like I'm under pressure. No one likes working under pressure, especially in the world like social media, where it's like there's all these like metrics and stuff. It's easy to talk about what we were talking about earlier. It's like the comparison, right? Yeah. It's so easy to compare to other people. Like, oh, their content looks so great, or oh, these guys are going viral. Why aren't we going viral? Like, I don't feel like that's the environment that I currently work in, which I feel like is so great because it allows us to then do great work because we're working from a place of strength and we're working from a place of creativity and actually thinking about things we want to do rather than trying to chase something that we don't really necessarily need. And going to your second question about people not speaking to each other anymore. I obviously can see that is true. And I think that social media definitely plays a part. I think people have now these like parasocial relationships where they don't actually speak to people, but because they see them post online, they feel like they've caught up with them. Yes. If I can go on Instagram and see what you ate today, or see that you got engaged, or see that you got a new job, I haven't got to then reach out to you and text you or call you because I already know the information. I already know how you are. So I think just the visibility of seeing everyone online has made it so that people just don't have the need to want to talk in real life. But I also want to point out that I think social media isn't just to blame. I think there are a lot of things in life today, in society today, that have made things difficult for people to actually talk. I feel like there's so much in the media and the news and everything that we see about division and like lack of community. People don't see each other on the bus and think, oh, these are my community. They just think, oh, this is another person on the bus. Everyone's so hostile, especially in London, where we're from.
Yeah, true.
You know how it goes. People are so aggressive and hostile because I feel like no one is feeling like that these people are part of the same people as them, like
community or anything anymore.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of played a part, like, that like cohesion that we had amongst people has kind of gone. So like everyone's kind of just like, I'd rather put my headphones in and look at my phone for half an hour than speak to people. But there's always going to be people that want to chat, and I love when I have those like random conversations with people. I had a conversation with my Uber driver the other day, and like we were just talking about his son, and it was a beautiful conversation, and it stuck with me. Even a week later, I'm still thinking about it. But I think even today, we're still able to have those like rare moments where we can just like have a good conversation. And I feel like even in the space of social media, real life conversation is still way more valuable.
If you were, this is going to be a really random question for you, but if you were to meet somebody and you had to tell them what you did without saying that you was a social media lead, and you was only allowed to say in a few sentences, so you had to describe what you did without saying anything to do with social media or lead, how would you describe what you do?
I try and communicate with young people in the places that they're at, and try and be funny, try and be informative, and I have to keep trying. I think it's quite a hard question, but yeah,
it's one of those questions where you're like, okay, so I have to strip down everything that I do. to try and explain to someone. No, I get it. So I have another one for you. So when I say these questions to my guest, when I say this particular question to my guest, I'm only allowed to say it once. Okay? So once I say it, whichever subject or word that you remember is the one that you talk about. Okay? You ready?
Right. Okay.
So here we go. So there's power, perception, culture, judgment, class, privilege, diversity, race, love, honesty, hate, guidance, control, and communication. Which one would you remember and want to talk about?
Honesty. I'm gonna talk about honesty.
Oh, I like this. Okay, let's go.
I think so. Something that I've kind of spoken about a lot at work recently is authenticity, and I think that honesty is tied to authenticity. If you're an honest person, more often than not, you're going to be an authentic person. You're gonna appear to people as you are because you're honest. And I'm gonna be honest. I never really like lying. I've always hated lying because it always made me very uncomfortable. And in my life, I have lied. I have lied on occasion, and I've gotten away with it. But it never makes you feel comfortable. And I think as someone who, I mean, despite what people might say, my friends might say, I do like to avoid conflict and I do like to people please. I feel like sometimes you think that telling a white lie or lying might be the easiest way to please people, but actually, I found and I constantly preach that honesty is always the best policy.
Yes.
Like if you're worried about something, if you messed up and you're a bit nervous to tell someone that you messed up, or you didn't do something that you said you were going to do, or you made a mistake, naturally you might want to be like, let me just lie and cover it. But you're going to feel so much better if you're just honest.
Yeah.
And like even like in things with my girlfriend or whatever, like even some like silly lies, like, oh yeah, what'd you eat today? Or yeah, I had this, but I had something else, but I don't want to say that I had like fast food. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I had pasta. And she'll be like, but I know you haven't got pasta at home, so why are you lying? And I'm like, oh yeah, you caught me. You know what I mean? It's something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I might as well be honest in the first place, because now I just look silly.
And the other thing as well is that when you say one lie, you have to cover one lie with another lie, then another lie with another lie, then another lie with another lie, because you have to back yourself up on how many lies you've told. And by the time you get to where you want to be, you forget everything that you've already told. So it becomes this big, massive lie, because small things make big things happen, believe me. So yes, I completely understand where you're coming from in the terms of not needing to lie, and you sleep better when you just tell the truth.
Absolutely.
Honesty, you sleep so much better. What would you say is one of the things that you are most proud of as an individual in the world?
Wow. Things I'm most proud of. I think I have a lot to be proud of, which I think is a blessing. And I think the things that I'm most proud of are the things that I've made. And off the top of my head, so me and my girlfriend like to travel a lot. And last year we met last year, and we've been on so many places already. We've been to Denmark, Trinidad and Tobago, Spain, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Italy. We're going to Thailand tomorrow, and I decided kind of after the first time we went away to like kind of make a film each time we go away, and like record bits and then give it to her after. And I am most proud of I'm most proud of the second one I did. I think second one I did, or third one. Is when we went to Copenhagen, and it was like the reason why I'm proud of it is because obviously it was a great gesture, and she loved it, and I'm happy that we're able to kind of like have this little thing that we do. But it was an idea that I had for such a long time, because I really wanted to use two of the same camera. So I have this Sony digital camcorder that I got about 6 years ago on eBay, and I love this camera. And my friend got the same one like a few years ago, and I was like, yes, because I really wanted to make a film where it was shot from two perspectives on the same camera, and have like a side by side.
Yep.
And so it was an idea I had literally for a while, and then the opportunity arose to do it, and I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So we both, during our time in Copenhagen, we were there for like 2-3 days. I gave her one camera, and I had a camera. We both filmed from our perspectives, and then I edited it so that it was like kind of like going between both perspectives at the same time, which I think was like, the reason I'm proud of it is because I haven't actually seen it for a while. I should rewatch it tonight, but I'm proud of it because like an idea came to fruition in a way that like I really wanted to happen. Yep. So I think like as a creator of things, that was really satisfying to me, and I think something that I'm proud of. But I'm also proud of a lot of the music that I've made. There's a song called Menace that I produced for my friend Ablaji. He's a artist, and we have like 3 songs together. I'm proud of all of the songs, but I'm especially proud of the song Menace that we have, because it's got like 300,000 streams, I think, or 300 plus thousand streams. But also it's because like we really worked hard to promote that song. Like we had to grind. We were like meeting up in the middle of like Hampstead Heath, and like recording content. We were posting like 2-3 TikToks a day, and we really pushed that song. We performed it. We performed in pubs. We performed in house parties. We performed in clubs. Like we really pushed that song for that summer in 2023. And like it was us on our own, man. That's what we had. It was me and him, and we did it. And like the success of the song is great, but it's great knowing that like that was something that like I really worked hard to do. And the song's great as well. So
I'm gonna have to listen to it now because you're intriguing me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Okay. But yeah, I'm proud of a lot of the work that I've done, and it might not be because of the rewards or the numbers. It's more about like, for me, how much time and effort I put into something,
Yep, I totally get that. One of the questions that I would love to ask you is about judgment. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people in the world get judged based upon how we look rather than the content of who we are as an individual person and the light that we shine individually. So what I'll say to you is, if I took out the word judgment from the dictionary and it didn't exist, mm-hmm. what do you believe that you would have done or will do differently in your life? Because now you don't have the judgment hovering over you. What would you do differently?
That's a great question, because I feel like it's kind of asking me, what am I afraid to do now? Like, what am I afraid of being judged for? Mm-hmm. I think as a creative person, as someone who makes things, I think living in a world without judgment might allow me to be more expressive and take more risks in the things I create. And, obviously when you have a job and you have to have certain guidelines about what you can do for your job, that's one thing. But I think, like, especially outside of that, as my own person, for people that are making things, creating things with their hands, painting, making music, having a world without judgment is so liberating. But at the same time, I do think that I do question then without judgment. Because I think judgment can also be good as well.
I agree.
And like knowing that you're going to be judged does allow you to keep grounded to certain like realities, you know. Like I think I'm not sure whether it's like what kind of person it is. I get confused with all of these terms about narcissist, psychopath, whatever, but I feel like a person that lives without any like idea of judgment and doesn't care about how they're judged will be very liberated, but also they might be a bit dangerous as well, because they might not care about what people think about them. And I think ultimately you should care about what people think about you, but you shouldn't let that define your life. You should be who you are and be comfortable with that.
I agree.
But if people don't like you, then maybe ask yourself why.
No,
But you shouldn't be so concerned with making people like you. It's hard to really kind of get the balance right, but there is a sweet spot in there of like caring enough that like you're a good person, but also not caring enough that like you're not like anxious all the time.
See, this is what I love when I ask that question, because there are so many, like I say, different definitions to understand that question. But one thing I haven't heard people say, which you've actually said, is that it can be dangerous when you don't care. Because sometimes that judgment from other people allows you to humble yourself.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you're aware, but like there's this idea of like being idea online currently is people being performative, or people are now afraid of like caring too much, and you know, this idea of being nonchalant and like that, how that's cool or whatever. And I feel like sometimes I'm kind of like painted with that brush sometimes, like, oh yeah, you're so chill, you're so cool, you don't care. But I do care a lot about so many things. And you know, caring is cool, and you should actually care about things and care about what people think, and care about what you think as well. Like I think people need to lean into their own opinions on things and kind of stand in that. But I think it can be dangerous if people don't care, because I think apathy and not caring about things is kind of like it's kind of led to where we are now as a society, in terms of like you know, just the world we live in now, with the rise of the far right, and you know, people going on marches and just people being hateful. I feel like this is all come about from just like people not caring about politics, or not caring about the world, not caring about community. And eventually, if you stop caring about certain things, don't be surprised if they turn out really bad.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you all of what you said is completely true, but also I think sometimes people misconstrue, because I'm very chilled out, you're very chilled out, so people misconstrue our calmness, like you say, as for not caring for things that they think are important in the world. We're completely opposite. We actually care a lot more, but because we are calmer, we just see things from a different perspective.
Yeah, I think it's hard, because I think when you do care and you are knowledgeable about certain things,
Very much so.
Sometimes you're aware of how much power you have, or how little power you have to change a situation, and so it can be quite difficult to then appear to be super passionate or super caring. But I care. I'm just not expressing it in the same way that some people do. It's so weird. It's so weird to me, because I don't know if you can relate to this, but this idea of that you're a calm person, or you're cool, you're chilled out. I never got that until I started working. Like until I got my first job, I never considered myself to be this cool, chilled out person. I mean, I wasn't like energetic, super like hyperactive person, but I wasn't just like, oh yeah, like he's so chill. That was never me. But it was only until I started working and started getting like my one-to-one feedback, or your manager feedback, or whatever it is, or you get that sort of comments, and then people are like, oh yeah, Remi is so chill, he's so relaxed. And I was like, really? Am I? Like, I guess in this context I am, but I always just in my head thought that everyone else was way more uptight than I was, and I wasn't chilled. I was normal.
I get
Everyone
it.
else was
I get what you're trying to say.
yeah,
I
and
totally do.
yeah, I think that label has kind of stuck with me now in the 6 years since. But I do find it weird that like people's perception of what being chilled or relaxed is kind of interesting, because sometimes I don't feel like I fit into that box, but yeah, I'm put it there.
I think this is what we talk about when we say people's perception of us and how we view ourselves. Somebody else is going to see it completely differently, you know, and that's why when I talk about judgment as well, that's another key factor that we spoke about, where we say sometimes people will get it fundamentally wrong about us. And that's why I think it's so important in life where you don't judge a person, get to know them first before you even... I don't like to judge anyways, hands down, but it's just a fundamental human trait in life that people will have to either make themselves feel better, to put a label on somebody, or just simply to just say it, because sometimes everyone's going to have an opinion at some point, and everyone will have an opinion on you most probably. So I kind of... There's nothing wrong with listening to someone's opinion. Nothing wrong with that. But what I always say to people is don't take it on board as it's gospel for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. So since we both love music, I have one of my favorite questions, which is, if there was one song that was the soundtrack of your life right now, or has been the soundtrack of your life, what song would you choose, and why would you choose that particular song, which is going to be really interesting knowing that you are a DJ?
Yeah, that is such a difficult question, because so many things come to mind. The soundtrack to my life recently would be I don't know, actually. You've stumped me. You've stumped me with that question. Because I'm trying to think of an answer that is correct, that really does answer the question, but also is a good song. It's a good song as well.
Do you know what I find, and this is where I talk to people about this, it just has to be a good song to you. You don't need to worry about if everybody else is going to like it, because I've learned in life that as soon as you say you like something, there will be people who will like exactly the same thing or something similar. But you can, you know what I'm going to let you do? I'm going to let you go on holiday and then come back and then say to me, Savia, this is my song. and I think you'll randomly send me a message at some point and say to me, Savia, this is my song. And then I'll be like, okay, cool, we've got this.
Yeah, I think, no, I do want to give an answer now. And I think maybe this might be a very weird song, but I feel like the energy that the song gives me and the vibe the song gives me is something that I felt very recently, about the song Superstar by Lupe Fiasco.
Yes, I know exactly what song it is, yeah.
I love that song. Lupe Fiasco's album, The Call, is one of my favorite albums of all time. And I love Lupe, and I think he's one of the best rappers. But that song, despite it being like a massive hit song, and it was in the charts and stuff, and people don't associate charted music with like being really deep and introspective. But I feel like Lupe Fiasco is so smart, and his lyrics are so interesting. And on that song, there's like a couple of lines that have like stuck with me for so long. And it's like he says, so like the premise of the song, if you're familiar, is like he's trying to get into the club, and it's like, they're not letting me into the club. And then they're like, he says, did you improve on the design, or did you do something new? I'll put your name on a guest list. Who rung you? And he's like, it's basically like, I always think about that as like, am I trying to do something new? Am I trying to innovate? Am I trying to like, am I trying to do social media, or am I trying to like do something new in social media? Am I trying to make music, or am I trying to make something new in music? And I think that's kind of always inspired me. But that song also just makes me like, reminds me of just like when I have like big moments, kind of, it kind of makes me feel like that. And recently we had our big like annual conference at work. And I was doing a whole bunch of things, interviewing people and hosting a panel and DJing. And it definitely felt superstarish.
I like that. I like that. That's definitely something to carry with you. So my question for you is, when was the last time that you felt totally at peace with yourself?
I think it was last week.
Okay.
It was, it was the day after that big conference. I think when you're looking forward to an event or a moment, especially like at work, so much time and effort has gone into something.
Yes.
And the relief and the peace that you feel afterwards. And knowing that I had this holiday coming as well, and just kind of like having that sense of like, okay, and I can breathe, and I can actually think about my holiday. I can think about things I want to do. I feel like for a moment I wasn't even able to think about like things I was doing outside of work. And you know, as I'm sure you can relate to, like I always have ideas in my head. I have this like constant Rolodex of just ideas constantly whirling around my head, and sometimes like they have to get put on the back burner when things take priority. And I think for me, and it's funny because I feel like for me, that's what peace is. Peace is being able to think about so many different things as well. And actually like in times when I'm busier, my mind is actually more clearer because I'm thinking about one thing.
Yes.
But at times when I'm at peace, my mind is actually more busy because I'm thinking about so many things, because that's what I want to do. I want to think about things at the same time. It's kind of weird. Like when I'm on a holiday, on the beach or relaxing, I feel relaxed and I feel at peace, but my mind is thinking about like things, you know, ideas or what I want to do, events, and I want to do this song, I want to make that song, I want to make this video. Or, do you know what I mean? My mind's just going with so many things, but to me, that's what peace is.
I like that. I like the fact that you can define it in such a beautiful way. So I've only got two more for you, but my second to last question talks about legacy. Legacy is defined in so many different but beautiful concepts. But one of the things that I do want to ask you is, how do you define legacy to you? Because some people will define legacy as when they're not here, whereas some people define legacy as when they are here and how they tribute themselves in life to changing other people's lives and being able to say things that help people pass on the message or wisdom or talent or whatever it might be to another person in real lifetime. What do you believe legacy means to you, and how do you interpret it?
I must be honest, I feel like because I am still so young, I think I never really thought about legacy in terms of what legacy means to me and what I want to build in terms of a legacy, or how I want to contribute to that legacy. But what I would hope is that, you know, just being the example that I want to see in the world, and kind of being the living proof of whatever I'm preaching or whatever I'm trying to advocate for. So I think in terms of my legacy and what I hope people take from me and what I do is that like sense of creativity and that kind of trust in yourself and trust in your ideas, and not like conforming to what everyone else says. I agree
with that one. Yeah.
I think if one day, and to go back to your question, I think the idea of like having a legacy while still being alive is also something that's really cool to me. Obviously once I'm dead and gone, I hope that people will kind of have an idea of me and what I was like and take from my life whatever they take. But it'd be good to kind of see that before, you know, and I see that actually while I'm alive and still contribute to that as well. And I think I just hope that in terms of like the legacies that we're all kind of building, because we are all kind of building legacies in our own way. I hope that I just hope that people actually get to like kind of like see it, like kind of, do you know what I mean?
I agree.
And like I think that everyone's kind of got such interesting lives and interesting things to say. I don't want to. I just hope that like mine is one of those voices that kind of gets to live on, because I know not everyone's does as well. And I think that, you know, it will be kind of naive of me to think that like it's a given that I will even have a legacy. Some people won't even have like a legacy, unfortunately. But I think that's kind of like, it's more about just what you build in your life, and kind of then how it's then preserved, and the kind of people you have around you. And I'm lucky to have like good people around me, and so long may that continue. And maybe, you know, that's kind of part of the legacy as well, is that like the people that we kind of have in our lives are then able to then kind of maintain that sense of whatever your building is, you know, that whatever the legacy is, it becomes bigger than you in a way.
This is why I like listening to everyone's stories, because I feel that every story that I listen to, I get to share. And that by itself, even without you even realizing, is a legacy within itself. Because now you shared your story of who you are as a person, you know, where you come from, what you do, and that lives on forever. Even when you don't realize it, it continuously lives on. So before I have the opportunity to say an abundant thank you for coming on the show, I would love for everyone to be able to find you or want to connect with you. Where can they find you on all your social media platforms, or anywhere that you would like to share?
So yeah, on LinkedIn, Remi Olokun, RemiOlokun. That's my real government name. But on Instagram and on TikTok, I'm pastryboy.usb.
I like that name.
Yeah. The story behind the name quickly, because I know I'm gonna wrap up, but
Cool.
I started making videos at my desk. When I got this job, I started making videos at my desk, just like talking about the pastries that I got in the morning. I would like often go to the M&S by Stratford Station, because the offices that we work at is on Stratford. So I'd get to go to the M&S and then bring it to my desk, and then just like put my phone up and just be like, "Hey, pastry people, today I got a cinnamon swirl. Yeah, have a good day." And that's kind of how it started. And then people just started liking the videos. So I was like, oh yeah, like, and then people started just like referring me to me as the pastry boy, and I was like, yeah, I'm the pastry boy. So then that's kind of how it developed, and now that's my name.
I actually like that's pretty cool. You see how things happen spontaneously in your life when you don't realize it, and they become some of the biggest things that we ever do.
I know.
But
It's crazy. And actually I feel like those moments are the times when like I believe in the power of the universe the most.
See?
And I believe in like just like kind of just letting whatever's in the frequency, just letting it guide you, and kind of going with the flow. Because if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't get to the point where like I've like thrown like 3 events where it was like pastries and music, and you know, hopefully I'll do more. But that's something that I got to do last year as a result of like this whole pastry thing, and just like leaning into it. And it's kind of silly, and it's kind of just like a bit of fun, but that's the whole point really, isn't it? It's kind of just like just doing things because why not? And it's fun. It's like something that people just like find interesting. I'm glad that like whether it's my videos or an event that I do, like someone looks at it like, oh, that's so funny. Like why pastries? And I love that question, because it means that I've got you thinking about it. Yeah.
See, this is why I love what we all do as people in the world, because without that creative endeavor in our minds to be, you know, optimistic, even when we're feeling down and we become creative, that has, you know, a fundamental effect on so many people in the world. You know, because like you say, it isn't always about the win. Sometimes the losses bring a win. But it's for
sure.
us to realize that in life. So, Remi, this is where I want to say to you, thank you so much for being as patient, as beautiful, as lovely, for saying, Savia, I want to come on the show, and for allowing me to welcome you on the show, for you to tell your story in your way without any form of judgment. I appreciate you, and I look forward to staying connected with you and watching your journey flourish into something beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I just love your energy, and you made me feel so calm and welcome. And this is my first podcast, so hopefully, if I do any more, they'll be as fun and as relaxing as this one has been.
I want to hear you on some more podcasts, to be fair.
It'll be nice. I think there are a lot of podcasts now. I think everyone's kind of got their own voice and kind of their own angle.
Yes.
And I think that it's it'll be fun to kind of just like connect with people and just like see what people want to talk about. I think your questions today have been so introspective. I've kind of really had to think about things that I haven't really considered, like legacy and judgment, and a really insightful conversation that you've had today. And I love that. You never know what's behind the next conversation that we're gonna have with someone. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. And this is where I want to say, guys, thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also remember to listen to us every Tuesday, or either on the Us People podcast website or any platform that you decide to listen to us on. This is where I say the most important part, guys. Thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
Society has made me want to validate me from my illusion that awaits me, from how the people will perceive me. It's my illusion that awaits me. We fight in our war with ourselves. Our mental health is silencing us from our heart.
Do things that you love, where eventually someone, and it only takes one person to find you and give you a chance. Once you find that chance, you'll flourish. That's it. So if you want to be famous, just ask yourself a few questions. Are you being famous for you? Are you being famous because you're insecure? Are you being famous because that fame can then take you to other opportunities in the world that you will flourish in and do great in? Or are you being, and this one's going to sound a bit rude, but are you being famous to be an arsehole? Which one is it?
Oh, I think a lot of people choose that last option. I think for me, fame, it's funny because I see a lot of people now, like they want to be influencers, they want to be whatever they want to be. And I can just tell that they haven't got the love for the thing that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And for me, I always considered fame, and I still consider it now, as like, I'm not against it, but I definitely don't desire it. But I definitely don't want to be famous as a person. I want my work to be famous.
There you go.
I think that's the only way.
I like the way you said that. That makes sense.
Like if I'm making a movie, which one day hopefully I do. I mean, I just want to make random things, but maybe one day I make a movie. I want people to know I'll be able to know my movie's good than know me. I want people to like my music because they like it, not because it's my music.
Why we dance on TikTok? Each other so. Why we dance on TikTok? Strike a post on Instagram. Fight the world on a Twitter feed. Link a thing on Snapchat. Why we dance on TikTok? Strike a post on Instagram. Fight the world on a Twitter feed. Link a thing on Snapchat. Why we dance on TikTok?